Well, hello, I got enough requests to make a video to show you how to do these problems. And I think there were a couple things. First off, you got to know the geometry part. And the geometry part is a couple different things. You have to know that when you add the interior angles, the measurement in degrees of a triangle, it always adds up to be 180 degrees. Okay, and I will show you that with a demonstration experiment video that we tried in class, where we all made our own triangles, right? And then we took our triangles and we labeled the three angles, A, B, and C, pointed towards those angles, and then cut them out, and then tore off, okay, the angles and put them together. And when you put them together, they always make a straight line, which is 180 degrees. So you have to know that all three angles of a triangle make a 180. You have to also know that if you cross two lines, right, that opposite angles will be the same. So if that is 110, this will be 110. Okay? And adjacent angles, those are angles that share a line. Right? So this line here is shared with this 110 degree angle and with this angle here. And together they make 180. So this angle should be 180 minus 110, which is 70 degrees. And again, this angle here is adjacent to this 110. So this will also be 180 minus 110, which is 70. Right? So that is 70, and the one opposite is 70. And this will be 110, because if that is 70, this adjacent one that makes a straight line adds up to 180. That's 70. This must be 180 also. Okay? If you had parallel lines, like these two lines, and again, parallel means if they went on forever, they would never get farther apart or cross. Same exact angle. And you cross those parallel lines with a line, that line will cross the first line at the exact same angle as it crosses the second line, which means those angles are the same. So if that is 60 degrees, then this one is 60 degrees. And you already know that opposite angles are the same. So if that is 60, this is 60, and if that is 60, this is 60. So I already got four angles. And remember, adjacent angles that make a straight line add up to 180. So you're thinking 60 plus what is 180? And that's the same as 180 minus 60, or 120. So if that is 60, this has to be 120. And again, we go to the opposites again. Opposite of that 120 is another 120. And since this is parallel, this line to this angle is the same as this, and makes sense because if that's 60, this has to be 120. So if I gave you one angle of those 8, you can easily figure out the other 7. And again, if you have a triangle, you know that no matter what the shape of the triangle, those three angles will always add up to 180. So if this is a right triangle, that's got to be 90, plus this 30, that's up to 120. What's this have to be? Well, 90 plus 30 is 120, and 180 minus 120, that has to be 60. If I told you that this one here is 130, and I told you that this one here is 30, then you could figure out this one, because 130 plus 30 is 160, and that has to be, that third one has to add with these two to make 180, so I can subtract that 160, and that will have to be 20. You can do that with all triangles. No matter what the shape, the three angles will always add to 180. So that's the first part you have to know so you can do these problems. After you know that, then it's algebra, right? So they're really throwing a lot at you on this one, I agree, okay? So the next part is going to be algebra. So if I look at that first problem, 60 plus 75 is 135. 60 plus 75 plus x is the algebra problem. Has to add to 180. So 135 plus x equals 180. To find out what x is, I'm going to subtract 135, and I'm going to do it to both sides. Right? Because you always do the same thing to both sides. That's what the equal sign says, right? You have to keep it in balance. So what's 180 minus 135? That's 45. So x is 45. Now, on this one, it's a similar one where you kind of just figure out 65 plus 80 plus what is 180, right? And then we start getting into some more algebra-type problems, right? So 100 plus x equals 180. I'm going to subtract 100 from both sides. So x plus x equals 80. Or 2 times x equals 80. How do I get rid of that 2? Well, it's multiplying, so I'm going to divide by 2. And divided by that side, I got to divide this side. Those 2's cancel out on this left side. All that's left is that x. And 80 divided by 2 equals 40. And I can go back and double check if that's a 40 and this is a 40. 40 plus 40 is 80 plus 100, 180. We got it. Okay. 65 plus 80 is 145, and 180 minus 45, 35. I can double check. 35 and 65 is 100, plus 80, 180. Boom. Okay. Now they're getting a little trickier, right? Same idea as this one. You're going to say x plus 112 equals 180. Okay. I get that problem from geometry. Now I have to solve it using algebra. Okay, let me see if I can focus this a little bit better. Capturing a picture, didn't mean to do that. All sorts of things happening here. I wanted the autofocus. That's terrible. Autofocus isn't as good as our focus, is it? Yeah, that's better, a little better. All right, 180. So I'm going to subtract 112 from both sides. Okay, they will cancel out on that side. And then I'm going to write, instead of x plus x, I'm going to write x times 2. And 180 minus 112, I got to borrow, right? So 10 minus 2 is 8. 7 minus 1 is 6. So I get 68. X times 2 equals 68. How do I get rid of that times 2? I do the opposite. Divide by 2. If I do it to that side, got to do it to this side, right? Same thing to the other side. Times 2 divided by 2 cancel out. X equals 68 divided by 2. You can come over here and do the division problem and say 2 goes into 6 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. Writing down the next number, and 2 goes into 8 4 times. So x is going to equal 34 on these. All right? Next one, now we get into the real algebra problems. Number 5, we got 60 plus 4x plus 10 equals 180. I'm going to put this 10 with the 60 and 60. 60 and 60 is 120 plus 10 more, 130 plus x times 4 equals 180. How do I get rid of that 130? I'm going to subtract it from both sides. And now my problem becomes x times 4 equals 50. How do I get rid of that times 4? divided by 4. That times 4 divided by 4, they cancel each other out. All that's left is x on this side, and I just have to figure out what's 50 divided by 4. Let's figure it out. 4 goes into 5 one time. 1 times 4. 4 goes into 10 two times. 2 times 4. I got a remainder. So I'm going to add a decimal, bring it up, add a 0, bring it down, and 4 goes into 20 5 times. So my answer here is x equals 12.5. All right, next one. 60 plus 60 plus what equals 180. Now, I could just say 60, 60, and 60 is 180, so this must equal 60. Right? Now, if I didn't do that, then I'm writing out this entire equation, which is fine, and then I'm taking a 60 and a 60. 60 plus 60 is 120, minus 60 is 60, and I'm simplifying this to 60 plus 8x equals 180, and then to get rid of that 60, I'm going to subtract 60 from both sides. Okay? They cancel out. I end up with 8x equals 120. How do I get rid of that 8? Well, I divide it by 8. And if I divide this side by 8, I got to divide this side by 8. So x equals 120 divided by 8. Let's figure out what that is. 8 into 120. Goes into 12 once. Bring down the next number. Goes into 40 5 times. Perfect fit. So on this one, x equaled 15. Okay, that angle was 60. All right, enough with the triangles. Now we're going to some crossed lines, right? Remember, opposites are the same. So 45 should be the same as 3x. Okay, so number 7, we're going to say 45 equals 3x, or x times 3. How do I get rid of that times 3? What's the opposite of times 3? Good. Divide by 3. But if I do it to this side, got to stay in balance, do it to the other side. Those 3's cancel out on that side. What is 45 divided by 3? If you do it this way, some of you know because of the clock, right? But if you don't know, you say 3 goes into 4 once. 1 times 3. All right, you just do the work if you know the steps. And 3 goes into 15 5 times. Perfect fit. So on number 7, x equaled 15. Put a box around that. Box around all your work, right? Box and box. Number 8, opposites again. This is 125, then this should be 125. So, number 8, 5x equals 125, right? Or x times 5 equals 125. How do I get rid of that times 5? Divide by 5. If I do it to one side, do the same thing to the other side, right? They cancel out. How many times is 5 going to 125? Well, I just think quarters. I like money. 25, 50, 75, 1, 125. 5 quarters is 125. So 5 goes into 125 25 times. Box your problem, box your answer. All right, number 9. Getting tricky. Again, 68 plus this angle make a straight line. That means they make 180. So on number 9, I'm saying I could say 68 plus 5x plus 12 equals 180. All right? Or I could have come over here and said 180 minus 68 equals 112. And said this equals 112. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to write out the equation like this and go ahead and solve it. Put the things together that go together. They call it combining like terms in algebra. Okay, so I'm going to put the 68 with the 12. 68 plus 12. It's a nice even 80 plus 5x equals 180. How do I get rid of that 80? Well, subtract it. I'm adding it, so I do the opposite. Those cancel out. 5x is the same as x times 5, and these cancel out. And what is 180 minus 80? Nice, even 100. And x times 5 is 100. I'm going to get rid of it times 5 with it divided by 5. But some of you just did that in your head, didn't you? You said x, 5 times what's 100? 5 times 20, huh? Right? Well, we prove it. They cancel out. X equals 100 divided by 5, and 5 goes into 100 20 times. Box your answer, box your problem. Box and box. All right, let's look at number 10. 10x plus 2 plus 128 equals 180. We want to simplify our problem before we start. This equals 180 minus 128. So you can, if you want, do this and say 10x plus 2 equals 52. That'll make our problem easier, huh? Right? So on number 10, we're going to say x times 10, that's 10x, whoops, plus 2 equals 52. How do I get rid of that plus 2? I subtract 2. And if I do it to one side, I got to do it to the other. They cancel out. X times 10 equals 52 minus 2. Again, they made this one easy for us. They don't make them all easy. So, what times 10 equals 50? You guys already figured it out, but let's prove it. To get rid of that times 10, I divide by 10. If I do it to one side, do it to the other. That times 10 divided by 10 cancel each other out. X is all that's left, and 50 divided by 10 is Cinco. Box your answer. Box all that work so we know where it is. Okay, 11. A couple more triangles. So 30. Tricky thing here is they didn't tell you that second angle. You had to figure it out by that symbol, right? That symbol means that's a right angle, which means it's 90. So 30 and 90 equal 120. All three of them add up to 180. I'm going to do 180 minus 120 is 60. So this angle is 60, and that's 19x plus 3. So on number 11, I'm writing here 19x, plus 3 equals 60. Get rid of that plus 3 with a minus 3. And if I do it to one side, got to do it to the other. 19x is the same as x times 19. The 3's cancel out, and 60 minus 3 is 57. And guess what? 19 fits into 57, a perfect 3 times. So divide both sides by 19, and x equals 3. Box your answer, box your problem. On to number 12. Okay? Number 12, another right triangle. Another right triangle. That's 90. That's 58. 90 and 58 make 148. This is going to be 180 minus 148, which is 32. So 32 is going to equal 3x. 3x is the same as 32. And again, this one they didn't make easy for you, right? Let's go to number 12 on our work page. And we're saying 3x, or x times 3, equals 32. How do I get rid of that times 3? With a divided by 3. If I do it to one side, do it to the other. Okay? So here I'm saying x equals 32 divided by 3. And again, this is one that's like, why didn't they make it fit? Because you get 10, and then you get this remainder. And if you go decimal, it's going to be a repeating decimal, 0.66666. So I'm just going to make this remainder go on top, and this go on the bottom. And hopefully you watch this to make it a little bit easier. We're saying 10 2/3 on that. And again, it's kind of weird saying 10 2/3 degrees, right? But I guess we're not really. We're saying that 10 2/3 is what x equals there. All right, 3 left. 3 left, that's all we got. Okay, and on these, we have one line crossing parallel lines, right? One line crossing parallel lines, and remember what that means. Parallel means it goes at the exact same angle. So 142, right, crosses, this line is parallel to that. That's what those little symbols mean. So this angle is the same as this angle. I don't care about that 38, or that this is 142 and this is 38, because they're opposites, and this will be 142 and these two will be 38, right? All I really have to know is that 142 is the same as 20x plus 2. Okay? So I can solve it. You can figure out what all 8 angles are. They're either going to be 38 or 142. But this one here, 20x plus 2 equals 142. There's an algebra problem. Let's get rid of the 2 first. This is what they call isolating the variable term. The variable term is the one that's stuck to a number. So to get rid of that, I get rid of the extra stuff that's not part of the variable term, 20x, and I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. The 2's go away here. 20x is the same as x times 20, and 142 minus 2 is 140. And this one they did make easy, right? Because what times 20 equals 140? Well, we can find out if you don't do it in your head. We're going to divide both sides by 20. And how many times does 20 fit into 140? We'll just count by 2's, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140. X is going to be 7 on that one. Okay. Same numbers on 14, huh? But now they're saying this 20x minus 2 equals 38. 20x minus 2 equals 38. How do I get rid of a minus 2? Now I'm going to add 2 to both sides. A minus 2 and a plus 2 cancel out, just like a plus 2 and a minus 2, and 38 plus 2 is 40. Instead of 20 times x, I'm going to do x times 20, because then I can do the opposite. The opposite of times 20 is divided 20, but if I do it to one side, do it to the other, and this can end up being an easy answer too, right? They cancel out on that side. 40 divided by 20, uno, dos. One last problem, number 15, and the bell's going to ring in a minute. So this is 128, this is 52, this is 128. We have 7x plus 3 equals 128. Sorry, equals 52. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, and I get x times 7 equals 52 minus 3 is 49, and doesn't 7 fit into 49? Divide both sides by 7, and I am done with this assignment just in time, because a bell is going to ring in a minute. You guys have me do this during my prep. Boom, you're done. Okay, hopefully this helped. And 24 minutes long. All right, have a good one, guys.